Chúc mừng năm mới, everybody. That's Happy New Year in Vietnamese.
Bok choy.
Bok choy is a vegetable. Welcome to the Two Fun Guys, everybody. Brent and I just came back from Vietnam, hence our Viet Cong helmets and very traditional.
Yeah, you can buy these at the airport. You can buy them all kinds of places.
Yeah, but we didn't buy them at the airport. We bought them at the tunnels where the Viet Cong actually lived. And then we shot AK-47s.
We did
wearing these hats. So that's pretty
so insane.
It is pretty fucking insane. But I'm curious. So you've traveled around Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
To a degree. To a couple places.
Thailand, that's it.
Okay. Bali, yeah, you've been to a couple spots.
Yeah.
But this was your first time in Vietnam. Mine as well. How do you think Vietnam compares to Thailand and Bali? What are the main differences?
Vietnam is, I mean, I haven't been everywhere, but it seems the feeling is it's a lot less traveled. There was a lot less backpackers. They're there, but you don't really see a ton roaming around. Where in Thailand, it's like everywhere. So maybe tourism still, like, though it's strange though, because we go to the boat, like that bay.
Ha Long Bay.
Or we go to, the Vietnam museums, and there'd be tons of tourist like buses and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, well, there is a good amount of tourism, and like all the boats for all the tourists, there was tons of them. But then when you're just traveling around and moving around, like in the city, I didn't see that many. Rarely saw backpackers. Like ran into, I don't know, that random European girl in line for banh mi, or saw a couple randoms on the street, but not really. So it seems less traveled by backpackers, probably as tourism, but more orchestrated. Like you sign up with a group or a guide. It has a very strong Chinese feel. I've never been to China, but there's a lot of Chinese, I don't know, food and influence.
I don't know. Your outfit says otherwise.
This looks pretty Chinese to me.
It's pretty Japanese to me.
Does it? This looks dragons.
Chinese?
This looks pretty Chinese.
I don't know. Potato.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Japanese. Yeah, it has a very strong Chinese vibe to it. Like the food, you see a lot of, like even the temples look very Chinese influenced.
Yeah, well, yeah, Vietnam was basically controlled by China for a long time.
I didn't realize that. In my mind, I was like, oh, Vietnam is just a different Thailand. But I don't know. There's just weird thoughts you have in your mind that you're not consciously thinking about. You're like, I don't know. I just never thought about it. And then remember that one time your mom was at our house and she's watching all these Chinese soap operas. I'm like, why does your mom keep watching all these Chinese shit? But it's like, it makes sense now because it's heavily influenced and it's really a part of the culture.
Totally.
But that was where the beginning of the disconnect was. I was like, I don't understand. And your mom would talk shit about the Chinese.
Yeah, she does.
So that was also confusing. I was like, I don't understand.
Yeah, it's like if you're sort of controlled by a group for a long time, you're interested in the group, but you're probably talking a little shit.
Yeah. Now I understand, though, they were part of but according to your mother, that the Vietnamese do not hold any genetic similarities as the Chinese. They're like their own people.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand how that works, because didn't we all come from one human being, like originating in Africa, and we all split off? How are you not genetically related to another group? Wouldn't we all be? That's where it doesn't make sense to me. How are you, like you just split and we're like, no.
I'm not
like
going to pretend.
Out of the
I'm not
ground?
going to pretend to know how science works.
But isn't that weird? Like,
well, I guess it's
how
like,
you don't have genetic.
Well, it's probably like, okay, so like Japanese
you
people
came out of that volcano, and they came out of that volcano.
Japanese people aren't the same as like Japanese people aren't the same as Finnish people, right? Like they look different races, different cultures.
Yeah.
It's probably the same with the Chinese and Vietnamese. They just look similar and are next to each other. So we just assume that they're connected.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, that's confusing.
We need a history lesson.
So I don't know. So it has I guess to sum it up, Vietnam has a more untouched vibe than Bali or Thailand, for sure.
Yeah, less touristy.
Less touristy, less, less touch, because it seems like Viet people don't know English really at all, or just very tiny amounts. Like even if, try to go up to a girl and flirt with her a little bit, she knew like 3 words. And then she would just keep agreeing with you, even if you were trying to get in a conversation. Like, oh, she has no idea what I'm saying. So it never went, you couldn't really flirt with any of the girls. People that just really didn't know English, unless they worked in a specific hotel for Westerners. Right. Then you could kind of talk to them.
Yeah, that's true. Like if you're in a hotel, people spoke English there. Yeah. But if you're in like a tiny little restaurant, a local place, good luck.
You could get around though. Like if you go, I'm not saying like if you went, you'd be fine as a foreigner not speaking any of the language. Like they speak enough you could, and they want tourism there.
What were your favorite parts of Vietnam?
I don't know. I have no
You heard it here. Brent hated Vietnam.
What were yours?
My favorite parts? Well, I guess like highlights of the trip would be in Saigon. It feels like Las Vegas. It's like a Vietnamese Las Vegas or a Vietnamese New York. Like it's very hustle and bustle, which was very different from Hanoi, which I also like, which is up north. Hanoi is like you're transported back to old school Vietnam. Everybody's like just chilling outside, out front of their store/house, because everybody lives above their business that they own. That's kind of a cool thing too. Everybody kind of just owns their own business. Like people don't really work at places. Nobody really has jobs. Every family just lives in a home above a business, and then that's how they make money. And
you have a hustle.
And my mom was saying
you turn your house into some kind of hustle.
My mom was saying that the reason for that is that the government really wanted to like encourage people to like have business and be in the economy and like own land. So they would give basically, I don't know if it was free land or like you get some kind of like tax break or something if you had your own business. So it was like really encouraging everybody to just do a business, whatever the fuck it is. And you'll see the most random businesses, and especially on a on a street, everybody owns their own company. So you'll walk down and you'll see a pho place, and then a place where they sell washing machines, and then a place where they sell bras, and then a cobbler, and then a bookstore, and just like random things all out front, just on a street, whatever you want. It's just there.
I think so now you talking more. What I loved the most about it is what is lacking, and I don't think really possible in the US because it's so big and spread out, is how if a strong sense of community there is in every city. It's like as you're watching everybody and everyone's moving around and doing their thing, it's like everybody's friends or connected with everybody. Like if you just sit at a cafe and you're watching, it's like everybody's in it together. And I think your mom even said that too. It's like people there, if you're down on your luck, the whole community will help you out. And then until you can pay everybody back or whatever. So like everybody's got everybody's back, and you can get that sense without, like I got that sense without her even saying anything. Like everyone's hustling, where, in the US, a lot of parts, it's like I'm doing my own thing and you're doing your own thing, and you just stay in your lane, I stay in my lane. Because everyone's so in each other's business. It's so busy, and also probably had to do with the war and everybody having to really stay together and watch out for each other. But that was the vibe. It's like and at night, it's so cool how all the young people everyone's just kicking it everywhere.
Big kick it culture.
Big kick it. And watching them maneuver through traffic, that's the perfect example. Is if people weren't connected with each other as like a community, there's no way that traffic would work. People would be so pissed at each other. But the reason it probably works is because everyone is so mindful of each other. Or else there'd be no way you could just jack your fucking moped between two cars and you're like, oh, it's fine.
Nothing is scarier than making a left turn in Vietnam.
Oh, dude, I don't even understand how it works.
I don't understand the traffic laws at all. I don't get it.
The left turn you're like, I could probably maybe do this. And then the left turn thing where the bus is just in the middle of 5 lanes.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm just going to turn left now.
Yeah.
And then it just goes.
You literally just drive into oncoming traffic and pray for your life. That's how you get around. Like Egypt and all these other places where driving is crazy, like Cairo is fucking bananas. this was more crazy than Cairo, for sure.
It doesn't make, it's like a hive of bees they're all synced together.
That's true. And it makes me wonder, why are Americans so bad at this? Like I think it's because we have too many laws and regulations on driving that we forgot how to act as a culture. Like bees, that's a great example. Like bees they're in tune, and ants, like they're communicating always with their little antennae.
Yeah.
And that's how Asians drive, which is a controversial take here. But we say Asians are bad at driving here in the US. That's the stereotype, that Asians are bad at driving. But it just comes down to the fact that they're driving the way they would be driving if they were still in Asia.
With no rules, basically.
With those types of rules. Like in Vietnam, how many times did we see our bus driver just make a fucking massive U-turn into oncoming traffic, and then everybody just stops for the bus? Or even a moped, you just have to like shove yourself in everybody's life, and people around you just go around, and they just adapt to where you're going. And that's just how you drive over there. So then we're in the US driving, and a old Chinese lady just cuts you off because that's how she would do it in China. So we just label them as bad drivers, but they're just bad in our environment. So now it makes sense. Now I have a little more empathy for Asian drivers.
Yeah, sometimes there'd be mopeds coming the wrong way down the side of the street, and there's like, it's fine.
Yeah, no one cares.
Yeah, it's fine.
And it is impressive that there's no accidents because everybody's so aware of what's going on around them. Where in the US, everybody's on their fucking phone, thinking about other things, eating a donut. Like, that's how you crash.
Yeah, they're just so tapped in.
They're fucking locked in, dude.
Yeah. What else did you like?
Dude, I loved eating pho for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Mm-hmm. Pho is a breakfast food over there, which was interesting to learn. You just go out for breakfast, have a bowl of pho. Pho is like $1 for a bowl.
Yeah.
Also learned that they don't give you a lot of meat. We learned that.
Yeah, not a lot of meat.
And even if you ask for extra meat, they're like, here's one small piece of chicken for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all their little tiny chairs outside.
Tiny chairs.
Tiny little chairs. All the coffee shops, tiny little chairs. Like miniature camping chairs, miniature plastic little chairs.
It was hilarious watching you, Big Brent, sit in tiny little like children's plastic chairs.
It's pretty funny. And then, the big coffee culture, that was a surprising thing. Because like Thailand, Bali, there's no coffee culture unless it's just for Westerners. But Viets have their own specific, their own style coffee, their own style beans, their own style of making drinks, and a bunch of different drinks I didn't know about, like cafe moi, and then the egg coffee. I don't know what that one was called. Super good.
Talk about cafe moi, the greatest coffee in the world.
Yeah, it's so good. So like Viet coffee, if people don't know, is Robusta. Is that the kind of beans? So those tend to be a lot stronger and they have a higher caffeine content. I think because they don't have to grow up very high in altitude, so they must just be a stronger plant, or they're more robust. Maybe that's why they call it Robusta. I don't fucking know. And it's stronger, so that it's almost like drinking just a strong espresso shot or two. They'll pour that in a cup, and then you have it either black or white with condensed milk or no condensed milk. And that's just like a thick, creamy milk. I think is it made with egg white or no?
No. It's just condensed sweet milk, and then it's whipped, and they put salt in it.
That's the cafe moi. So like you can get just the black coffee, or you can get the white where they put the condensed milk in the bottom and then you slowly mix it, which is interesting because it creates a sweet taste, but it doesn't kill the strong flavor or the strong taste of the coffee, because the milk doesn't have a bunch of water in it, liquid, like whole milk or regular milk. It's got it because that has a lot more water content, where this has no water content. So you get the sweet, but you still maintain that strong. Then you can get a cafe moi. You take the condensed milk before you put it in the coffee, and then you whip it with salt, and you whip it for a long time till it becomes basically a giant marshmallow goo that is so delicious. And then you pour that on top of the coffee, and everything is either hot or iced. Hot or iced. And so that's cafe moi. Super good, super simple.
Is that different from the US, hot or iced? Is there like warm coffee in the US?
I'm just saying in Vietnam, you can every drink is either hot or iced, right?
Right. Well, what are the other options outside of Vietnam?
What are you talking about?
So you're saying in Vietnam, everything's either hot or iced. Yeah.
Yeah, the coffee, yeah.
Right. So what are the other options? Because those are the only two types of coffee I can think of.
Yeah, I'm just saying that the Vietnamese coffee either just comes hot or iced. Like they have a specific name for, do you want hot or iced? They don't usually like always ask that in the U.S. It's like you get like a Americano and like, oh, I want to get it.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, you either just have two styles. They don't usually ask like, do you want your Americano iced? That's not like a common thing they would
I see.
ask.
You're saying that you always have an option of hot or iced.
Yeah.
No matter what you're ordering.
Like the main two, when you read the menu, it's like, do you want hot coffee or iced coffee? And then you either do white or black. That's the options. US, it's like, do you want drip? Do you want Americano? Do you want a latte? Do you want a, and then you could also have it iced if you want. Right?
I don't know. I'm not a coffee drinker, so
yeah.
I'm going off of what you say.
Yeah. Yeah. So Cafe Moy.
Very nice. Let's talk about how much of a ripoff chiropractors are and how much of a scam chiropractors are.
Oh, yeah. I've known this since Thailand. It's fucking chiropractors are ridiculous.
You're telling me you went to school for that long, but I went to Vietnam and got a $10 massage from a little Viet lady who gave me the same neck and back adjustment that you gave me after going to school for that long? I don't think so, pal.
Exactly.
I don't think so. This 19-year-old Viet girl just gave me a full adjustment.
Yeah, I remember one time I was in a club in Thailand and the guy's like, lift your arms. And I go, okay. And then all of a sudden, back. And then I walk out of the bathroom like, what just happened? And I was like, that guy doesn't know anything about chiropractor. Chiropractor is bullshit.
Chiropractors are absolute bullshit.
Absolute bullshit. That's why all chiropractors have 50 other modalities they've added. They're like, oh, I know how to juggle. I know how to change a tire. I can give you laser treatments. I can wax you. Like, you always see it. They have ART. They have all kinds of other, I can do kinesio tape. I can do blah, blah, blah. I can do fascial release. All these different things because the main thing doesn't fucking do anything. It feels good.
That was just your door to get an easy doctorate.
Yeah.
And now that you're a doctor, you can go sign up for all these other modalities. But just a doctorate in chiropractic medicine, bullshit.
Yeah, it's 100% bullshit. Ask any other doctor what they think of chiropractors.
Yeah, they're like physical therapists and chiropractors, not real doctors.
No. Yeah. Massages are great there.
Massages are great and dirt cheap.
Yeah, super cheap.
Yeah, I came back and got a massage from my normal lady who's awesome. But then I paid $180 and I'm like, I got a massage for $20 back in Vietnam.
Yeah. I think this is the other thing that's very interesting. I don't know if this is true in Thailand. I didn't really notice this. Thailand does have Thai massages, but I noticed, especially like in Saigon, the amount of there's different kinds of massage spots, but like very specifically like foot, face, like, I don't know. It was an interesting category where it's like you could get your foot rubbed, you could get your face like massaged. Maybe you could also get your hair done. And they're like really lit up, big glass windows, like floor to ceiling. And then obviously tons of gorgeous girls outside, but you could see every single bed as you looked in. And there was tons of those places. And you're like, is that a big, if you're Vietnamese and listening to that, is that a big thing because there's no way that's for all Westerners because there were so many of them. Is that their beauty salons?
I guess so, but I think Vietnamese people also
They like
have to be going there a lot too.
No, I think so. So it's like, they must really cherish their feet and like their hands being taken care of. Because I saw a lot of like dudes with their girlfriends that were Viet guys in there.
Totally.
Like I would look and
I saw a lot of locals in there getting like their waxing done or their pedicures and stuff.
Yeah.
Foot massage.
So there's a lot of those places, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, and then you get a massage over here and they don't even give you a happy ending. It was fucking ripoff.
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
Yeah, and then there's the happy ending places. So there's like a variety of different massage places all over the place. You have just like beauty, and then you have like happy ending ones. And then you have that main road we went down. That was like, I was like, okay, I guess maybe Vietnam doesn't have Ladyboys. And I was proven wrong. They definitely have Ladyboys.
Brent was proven wrong on Bui Vinh Street in Vietnam.
Yeah. Wild Street. Reminds me a lot of Thailand. It's like a very Phuket, probably Pattaya vibe or whatever.
Tell us about the Ladyboys.
the Ladyboys. So the first time I ever saw a Ladyboy, I was 20 years old. And I didn't even know they exist because there's no Instagram, there's no Facebook just came out. And I remember I was in Phuket in Thailand, and there was stages in the middle of like main courtyards where people are eating, and there's all these families, like little kids and people. Me and my buddy are like, what the fuck is happening? And there would be these like lady boys on the thing, and people be like, those are dudes. And we're like, whoa, really? And like no one cared. And didn't even know they existed. So we're like, oh, that's interesting. And then we would walk down the main streets. They were the most aggressive ones coming after you. You're like, holy fuck, these things are crazy. And people would be like, watch out for them. They'll try to grab you. And they would literally run up to you and grab your dick. And they'd be so aggressive. Fast forward now to Vietnam. Ladyboys don't even look like ladies or men that look like ladies. They literally look like AI robots. I remember like looking at them being like, telling you like, dude, these are, what's that quote we saw on Instagram recently? The hottest women in the world are Thai men.
Yeah.
Like they don't even look like men that are guys, or even hot women that are guys, or even women. They look like something out of a futuristic anime cartoon that's like a newly thought up version of a woman. Like the way even they've done things to their face, you're like staring at them like, what is going on here? Like the skin and the face and the eye structure was crazy looking.
They kind of look like AI sex robots if they mated with a fish.
Yeah. Like weird face. You're like, that doesn't look like a guy's face or a woman's face. It's so strange looking.
But that wasn't all of them. That wasn't all of them though. There were some ladyboys that just looked like hot ladies.
Yeah, no, it's hard to, I don't even know.
Sometimes they'll fool you.
They totally fool you. And you're like, whoa. But you can tell they're ladyboys though, because they still have energy of a guy. Because they're all grouped together hunting like dudes. Mm-hmm. Where the rest of the street, the girls are all like, oh, hello. Mm-hmm. You know, coming up to you like a normal girl trying to flirt with you.
You can't hide your testosterone from me.
No, the ladyboys had this dominant wolf pack energy going on. You're like, those are, and they would just come up to you and they're like super aggressive. So I don't know. Fun to see the evolution of ladyboys though. In another 10 years, I think women are in trouble.
Yeah. In another 10 years when ladyboys,
sex robots and
when
ladyboys?
They take over, I mean, shit, it's going to be the year, it's going to be the season of ladyboys coming up soon.
It's going to be, instead of the year of the wooden rat or the wooden dragon, it's going to be the year of the ladyboy.
That's a horoscope. The year of the ladyboy.
Yeah. Just randomly 2026 in China, ladyboy year.
Instead of the big dragon they do for the Chinese New Year celebration, it's just a ladyboy.
It's just a baby penis that they move through like a dragon thing.
We're getting canceled for that image, dude.
Yeah, that was fun. You go up and down the street. It's always a nice ego boost. And also, you're going up and down the street where there's tons of prostitutes and girls dancing, whatnot. And then there's like families, old guys, old ladies. Your mom went down the street.
Yeah, my mom walked down the street.
Having a blast, filming all of it, being like, yay.
Yeah, it's fun for the whole family.
That's the cool part about going to different cultures, is because things that maybe in your culture would seem so taboo or strange or weird, you get popped in there and you're like, oh, it's chill. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just chill. Like anything, like the traffic, this would freak people out in the US. This is chill. The types of jobs or the way people are eating on the street or anything, it's just chill.
Yeah, keeping raw meat in a bucket on the sidewalk while you're cooking up some food and you're just hosing it down on the sidewalk. Pretty chill.
Super chill.
Pretty chill over there.
Yeah. Do you think you could live there?
In Vietnam?
Yeah.
I mean, could? Yeah, I think I could live anywhere. Would I want to?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. It's part of my culture. So, like, I am Vietnamese. So I would go live there for like 6 months just to like pick up on the language, embrace the culture a little bit more, get more in touch with my Vietnamese side. So yeah, I would live there. Yeah. I don't think I would root there and like make that my home forever.
Yeah.
But honestly, I would want to live all over the place. So that's a tough question to say no to for most things. I mean, I'm sure some places I wouldn't want to fucking live, but yeah, I would live in Vietnam for a little bit, not forever.
I think I could do it for like a month or two.
Yeah.
I don't think I can make it much longer than that. And I think depends on how humid it gets. Because we were there when it was supposed to be dry season in Saigon. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it was pretty nice weather. It would be fun though to live there and have a community and see what it's really like to be in the vibe for a while. It'd be interesting. Also to go out in the country. We never really got to go out in the country.
Yeah, we didn't get to do the country. So next time I want to ride motorbikes through the hills, through the countryside.
Yeah.
We already have our helmets, so we're good to go.
Tree does that, 200-kilometer bike ride from North Vietnam all the way to Saigon.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good way to do it, because then
you really want to ride a bike 200K?
Yeah, because then now you can eat super diabolically and you're not on a bus staring being on a bus looking out the window sucks.
True, but I would do it on a motorbike, not a bicycle.
I don't know. You get to see the country.
I don't know. I'm not a big bicycle guy.
Not a big exercise guy.
No, I'm a big exercise guy, not a big bicycle guy.
Yeah. I don't know. Bicycle would be fun. I mean, both would be fun. It'd be fun to be on a motorbike too. It's just you probably are on a different route and path if you're taking a motorbike versus if you're on a bike, you're probably taking a lot more rural paths. So you see the country, like more of the actual land instead of just freeway.
Yeah.
You're just on a giant freeway.
Yeah. What did you think of going to the Viet Cong tunnels?
Oh man, the whole Vietnam thing. It's interesting learning about, you learn about Vietnam as a kid, and then, time goes on, none of that stuff's really in your mind. And we didn't grow up during the time it was even happening, but it was fairly recent. But then now I understand the perspective of like my mom, or probably your mom, or people who are probably in their 70s or 80s right now who grew up during that time. And that was like when they were in high school or college, how big of a deal it was, because you realize how fucking awful it was for everybody. The U.S. veterans, a lot of the Vietnamese, they're like, what the fuck is happening? Like, why is the U.S. involved? But then also it's strange because the South was against the North, the Vietnamese, and they were doing awful shit together. Mm-hmm. And then we get involved and we're doing tons of awful shit, really awful shit. And then how the Vietnamese were so they took on, it's crazy story if you think about it. They took on the superpower, the world superpower, and they're like jungling it up to the max, building tunnels that go miles and miles and miles deep, and creating crazy contraptions where if another 100 years go by and you look at it, it's like Alien versus Predator or some crazy shit like this. Like they were using the craziest tactics and building things.
Yeah, and then they
came up with it. Yeah,
they fucking won. Like people don't like to talk about that, but we lost the Vietnam War.
Yeah,
because they had fucking tunnels.
Yeah,
they're so like the ingenuity of the Viet Cong was so smart. It was crazy. They dug all these tunnels, like elaborate web of tunnels underground, lived in there for 20 years basically while they fought the U.S. and the South Vietnam soldiers. And even though the U.S. had so many weapons and so many bombs, and we had an entire department of the military that was designed to make experimental weapons just to try on Vietnam, like different types of bombs and all this shit. And we're throwing everything we have and all of our military budget at Vietnam. And what they had was fucking tunnels. That was it. Like they just lived in the tunnels and they absolutely murked the U.S. Just fucking destroyed them. And they were so smart with how they did it. Like the craziest thing was learning how the U.S. would drop bombs, but not all of them would explode, right? You have a couple dud bombs. The Viet Cong would then take those dud bombs, cut them in half, turn those into tank mines. So then all the tanks rolling in to fuck them up, they would then blow up all the U.S. tanks. And then once the tank was blown up, they would cut it open and remove the electrical generators out of the tanks and then use that to light the tunnels that they were living in. So everything we threw at Vietnam, they just were so scrappy, they took it and then used it against us for 20 years and then just fucking destroyed us and then we had to leave.
Yeah, because if we just kept going, they were never going to lose.
Yeah, and the traps, the fucking traps they would build into the ground to fuck people up are brutal.
Yeah, I was looking at those and be like, how did they think of even building that? They're like, I got an idea. Like not just a simple, oh, you fall on the ground, there's spikes, all kinds of very creative ways of getting spiked.
Yes. How to get spiked in 10 ways by the Viet Cong.
There's so many different ways they can like, no, you touch this, then this thing spins like this, then catches you. And then if you try to pull your leg out, oh yeah, that one's good. Your leg's also stuck and then it rips that in half. Yeah. You have to go look at it. It's also pretty cool that you can be there and it's a bunch of Americans and Europeans and all these people and everyone's chill. You're like, this wasn't that long ago. And now they're letting me wear a Viet Cong hat.
They're letting
and I'm shooting AKs.
AK-47 wearing a Viet Cong hat as an American citizen.
And I think we were reading like the U.S. killed like 3 million Viets. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's so much death and carnage. What is the main museum called in Saigon? The one downtown-ish.
I think it was like the Museum of War, something like that.
That one is definitely worth seeing because you get to go through the like whole timeline, all the pictures, and you get to see all the aircraft. It's like, it's wild.
It is wild. What's crazy though about that museum and just history in general is it's such a reminder that the history books are written by the winners. Like that whole museum was about the atrocities that America inflicted on Vietnam, which all of it's true. 100% of it, like I believe everything in that museum. And America did some fucked up shit to Vietnam. Phosphorus bombs would like rip your skin off and Agent Orange would fuck everything up. And it was just absolutely brutal. But that's what the museum was about, was all the atrocities the Americans inflicted to the Vietnamese. But that's only because North Vietnam, the communists, won the war and beat the South and technically America lost. But if it was the other way, if the South had won, with America's help, then the museum would be all about how the North Vietnamese communists were atrocious and all the terrible things they did. And it would be like a celebration of America. So there's always two sides to a war story.
Yeah, it was interesting too. They showed a lot of where the Americans started to just be like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like troops and sergeants and like different people started opposing the war and how strongly all over the world people opposed it, even Americans. And it's, yeah, I think the US just got themselves so deep in a hole. They're like, oh shit. And everyone's like, what are we doing? This is crazy. Yeah. And also how insane you get to see how insane the soldiers went over there. Like the US soldiers, 17-year-old dudes, like smoking dope, high on heroin, seeing crazy shit in the jungle, getting obliterated by the Viets. So then now they're even more crazy. Mm-hmm. And then the crazy shit they started to do to the Viet people. It's like, it was just literal hell for everybody. Totally. Created hell for everybody. It's awful. It sucked for everybody. There's no winner. There was no winner. And sad part is a lot of like, that's what happened. A lot of Viet, war veterans came back and people like would spit on them and shit.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. So like a lot of people hated the veterans. So then you get your mind fucked.
Dude, imagine going to war, fighting the most insane war.
You got drafted. It
wasn't even your choice. You got drafted as a 17-year-old and then you come back from fighting the most insane war and then everybody's like, yeah, fuck you, dude. Spitting.
You're like, I'm definitely becoming a heroin addict.
100%. There's no other option. Either a heroin addict or a supervillain.
Yeah, supervillain for sure. Yeah, that was good. Also, it was fun to see Vietnam through your mom's eyes.
Totally.
She grew up there and all these different spots. She's like, oh, this spot, this and that. That must have been cool for you.
Yeah, it was really cool to see Vietnam through the eyes of someone who grew up there, but also it's like she's seeing it for the first time because it's so different from when she grew up. Like the last hotel we stayed at, so we stayed in kind of like whatever digs the whole time. It was like we paid for the premium trip and we got like backpacker premium, which wasn't that great. But we were like,
it's like if they turned a hostel into separate rooms and they were kind of nice rooms.
Call it a luxury hostel. But for the last night, we're like, fuck this. I literally Googled most expensive hotel in Saigon and we found the most opulent, bougie hotel I could possibly find. And we fucking stayed a night there, which was super sick. And all three of our rooms were looking at the river and you could see, this was crazy, you could see the house that my mom grew up in and the restaurant that they own because everyone has a business and then house on top. So the hotel window looked directly at literally where she grew up her entire life. And she pointed that out. And now it's like this tall, it was like a bank building or something. But she pointed out that very specific spot. And what was so cool was seeing her look at it. And she was like, I've never seen it from this high up before.
Wow.
It was around like the 36th floor or something. Like she's never been that high looking at an aerial view of her home that she grew up in.
Oh shit, that's crazy.
That was wild.
That is intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. And that's also got to be an interesting experience being half that culture and being there. Like for you.
Yeah, it's odd because I never really felt super connected to my Vietnamese side. One, because look at this face. Not very Vietnamese.
Yeah.
And two, I grew up in a house that had more of my Arabic side. Like
Yeah.
I grew up with my Arabic grandparents and Arabic cousins and all that stuff. And I didn't really have a whole lot of Vietnamese influence. And my mom didn't speak Vietnamese to me, so I never learned any Vietnamese. So I had very little, other than I would go to the Buddhist temple with her often. So I was kind of like half Catholic, half Buddhist getting raised. So I had that influence, which was cool.
Or play her music in the background.
God, I fucking hate it, dude. As a Vietnamese person, I will say the Vietnamese language is the most annoying language. I can't stand it, dude. And the music with their mono string instrument, I don't know, maybe some people find it beautiful, but it's permeated my brain since I was a child. I don't like it anymore.
Yeah.
I never liked it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never felt connected to the culture. So I was really excited to go to Vietnam and like immerse into it. And now I feel a little bit more connected. Now I feel like I understand the Vietnamese culture in my blood a little bit more. So super fun trip. I definitely want to go back, and I would spend more time. I would like to spend like a month or two and like learn some more Vietnamese.
Yeah, and just do whatever you want to do.
Get more happy endings.
Exactly. You really can only know a culture.
Yeah, you don't really understand Vietnamese culture until you've had a couple rug and tugs.
Yeah, it's really it's the cultural exchange that we need.
Mm-hmm. And it supports the economy.
It does support the economy. I really want to interview one of those girls so bad. That's the one thing is, unless you live there and you have time, it's hard. Like we tried to vlog and I recorded a bunch of stuff. We're going to try to put out a vlog, but it's like I need time to develop like relationships with people in the community to like be like, okay, let's go have a conversation now. Instead of just like, hey, right away, meet somebody. Okay, let's record and da-da-da. It's like, it's not very organic. It's like you want to be in a spot, kind of be living the life and be like, okay, I ran into this coffee person 3-4 times in a row. All right, now let's have a conversation.
Right.
And I do really want to talk to some of these girls who do this massage stuff. Like there's got to be a percentage of them that maybe they love doing it.
Totally.
And then there's probably a percentage that, because that was one of my epiphanies. Maybe I'm delusional, but I remember one of the first times going to Thailand and being like seeing all of these sex workers everywhere. And you're like, in the US, it's always portrayed as this like dark, crazy, scary thing that's like super seedy and whatnot. Or you see like, you know, in movies, it's like they show favelas or like India and their back alleys. It's super disgusting. And there are horrible, awful, trafficked, tons of stuff. But then there's places that it's like going down to your local Trader Joe's and everyone's happy and hanging out. And you're like,
Yeah.
this is a little,
Seems pretty above board.
this seems like everyone's kind of having a good time.
Mhm.
I don't know. Interesting. So I really want to talk to those chicks. I think they should legalize it for the girls. I mean, it's like you have porn where people can have sex and make money and they film it, and they have OnlyFans, which in a lot of ways, if someone could just pay for sex work, that's probably way healthier than someone subscribing and being a voyeur or watching porn and all that. Like way stranger, way more toxic.
Way
I
more
think.
toxic. And it creates this illusion of connection. But at a deeper level, it's only furthering that connection. It's you're more disconnected now because, like you said, you're a voyeur. You're just paying for this thing that you can't actually have, and it's just building up more tension. And like maybe you get this momentary release if, say, you subscribe to an OnlyFans and you get some pictures from some chick and you jerk off. It's like you have this momentary release, but you know that you're not fully fulfilled. So all these dudes subscribing to OnlyFans are just getting more pent up. They're going to go shoot some fucking schools up for sure. And if they could have just went to a legitimate brothel or talked to a sex worker and then gotten what they wanted. Sex worker got money. That's what she wanted. This dude got his rocks off, felt connection for a moment, done. And it's the same thing as a strip club. It's like most guys go there for some kind of connection. I remember working at a strip club. We had old guys coming in there all the time just because like maybe their wife passed away or they never got married or whatever. And they want like physical touch from a woman.
Yeah.
And it feels good for them. And companionship. And they were chill guys. Like you got some fucking creepers in there for sure. But most of the dudes pretty chill. They just wanted to come talk to girls and feel good for a second. And
yeah, they try to portray that if you have that desire, you are an awful person.
Right.
I think of how many men or women, whether let's say they are disabled, elderly, have some kind of, learning disability or social disability or whatever, they still have the same desires as a human being.
Yeah.
And if there's a female that wants to set up her own business and it's regulated and she's safe and whatnot, and wants to provide services, that's a giving, loving thing. It's no different than getting some kind of therapeutic massage or treatment or talk therapy.
Right.
It's just on a deeper level. That's, if anything, probably way more needed.
Totally. And it's so cultural. Like in the US, in the Western societies that have been permeated with like this Puritanism from just old school religious doctrine that's stuck in our culture. That's why it's so bad and frowned upon. But Japan, sex work is a pretty common thing. And a lot of the girls, you send me videos like this all the time. It's like people will ask girls in street interviews like, oh, do you care if your husband sees a prostitute? And most of the girls are like, some aren't for it, but a lot of them are like, no, it's fine as long as he's paying for it. Like that's different. Like don't go fuck some random chick. I don't want that. But if it's a transaction, if it's just money for a task, I don't care as long as he's safe and he comes home to me.
You know how many people I've trained who once they've been in marriage for 20, 30 years are more than happy to let their partner go see a sex worker.
Yeah.
And it's not talked about at all.
Yeah,
it's
so probably tired of fucking that person.
Well, it's just because you're with somebody doesn't mean like if you want to sleep or have an intimacy or connection with somebody else for a night or two, doesn't mean you want to end your entire relationship and marriage that you built over 20, 30 years. Yeah. It's just you have this physical need, like having a desire to eat a different kind of food.
Yeah.
Right. You just don't want to eat the same food all the time. Yeah. It doesn't mean you don't want to have the house with the kids and the family and the relationship and go on the vacations together and still do all the things together. It's just, you just have this physical desire to do something else with somebody else.
Yeah. I don't know why there's so much weight on it. Like lasagna could be your favorite food and you love lasagna. It's your favorite thing. You'll kill people to eat lasagna. But if you had lasagna every night for 10 years and you're like, dude, I'd kill for a fucking chicken parm right now.
Yeah.
Or some sushi or something. It's a different flavor, different culture.
Yeah.
Right? But you're always going to come back to lasagna because you fucking love lasagna.
And the relationship probably work out a lot better if the two in the relationship, husband and wife, go blow off steam with somebody else
100%.
And then come back. Instead of talk therapy, it's just a bunch of bullshit.
It is bullshit.
Yeah.
But yeah, sex work is crazy that it's not allowed. You can have sex with somebody and pay them money as long as you film it. Because if you film it, it's pornography. But the moment that you remove the camera, now it's illegal. How the fuck does that make any sense?
I don't know. Yeah, and you can film yourself fucking people. You can put it online. You can have people subscribe to it. You can chat to them about you fucking people online, build a relationship with them. But if they want to pay you to fuck them, somehow that's an evil. It's like, I don't really.
There's no logic behind any of the laws or rules.
It doesn't make.
It's all arbitrary.
And then because it is illegal, then you just have all this shady shit going on. And so all the girls that are actually in the industry are just getting super fucked over.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember watching this documentary on the red light district in Amsterdam, and everything is so regulated and like structured, and there's security cameras everywhere, and there's always like a guy monitoring, and there's bouncers everywhere, and like the girls feel very safe in that environment, at least from what I saw in this documentary. And that's how it should be. Like it should be a regulated industry. Safety for the girls should be number one priority, or the guys, whoever's doing it, like safety priority number one. And then people can just have what they want. And the government's going to get so much fucking tax money. Because I'll buy prostitutes every day and you're going to get paid a ton of taxes, government.
Also, people don't like, how many women would hire a male prostitute? There are
a lot.
so many women.
A lot.
So many.
They don't want to admit it, but there's a lot.
There's so many, and they should be allowed to.
100%.
They should totally be allowed to.
So that way Brent and I can be gigolos. That's the whole reason we're having this conversation. So they can legalize sex work. So Brent and I can start 2 fun gigolos business.
2 fun gigolos. That's not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea at all.
1-800 TFG jiggle.
Yeah.
Low.
Gigolo.
Gigolo. Nice.
Well, any parting words about Vietnam?
No, I feel like there was a bunch of other stuff we wanted to talk about or say. I don't remember.
Do you think our outfits are racist?
No, because you're half Viet, so
Exactly.
I
So
can do whatever I want.
I give the card. It's like a black guy saying you can say the N-word. You got the
Yeah, also
you got the card.
How I know is, would your mom love that I'm wearing this outfit?
She would love it, dude.
And she would love it. So therefore,
She tried to buy you an Alzai, but
did she?
they didn't have sizes your size.
Is this an Alzai?
No, that's a kimono.
Oh, okay.
This is an Alzai.
Okay.
What I'm wearing is.
Ah, yeah.
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 So
There's
she
no
tried to
way.
buy you a traditional Vietnamese one, but Viets are very small and
No.
Brent is very large.
I'm the size of 5'6" Viets.
Yeah, watch. It was actually funny walking down the streets of Vietnam and seeing Viet people be shocked at Brent's size.
Really?
Yeah, there are a couple of people like, oh my God, that is a literal giant.
Can you imagine what it'd be like then to be like Shaq?
Oh yeah.
People would be like, oh my God.
Shaq has a pretty short wife, I think.
Really?
Yeah. Or maybe she's normal size, but in pictures she looks.
That same
Super
with
short.
the Mountain, the guy from Game of Thrones. He's like Shaq size. He's like almost 400 pounds or something. His wife is like 5'2".
It's crazy.
That's insane. That's so insane.
Poor girl.
Yeah. But now that was it makes the best part of traveling is changing things up and wanting to go travel more again.
Yeah.
That's exciting. But the next travel, at least for myself, is got to go on a vacation.
A real vacation.
We need a vacation because this was still a lot of work. You're on a plane, then you're in an airport, then you're on another plane for 10 hours, then you're airport, then we were on another plane for like 4 or 5 hours. It was a haul to get over there. And then buses, small little hotels, more buses, more planes. It's like my body got fucked up.
Yeah, and your days are full of stuff.
Yeah.
We need like a chill beach vacation. You just relax, unwind, do nothing.
Yeah. So yeah, we need that to like plan things out and reflect and all kinds of stuff. So
Yeah, exactly. Well, fuck yeah, dude. It was fun as shit going to Vietnam with you.
hell yeah, man.
Thanks
That
for
was
coming on the adventure.
Yeah. More to come. Definitely want to go to Southeast Asia and spend some time over there. Because then you could do Vietnam and Thailand and a bunch of stuff. If you had 3 months and you could go wherever you wanted for 3 months. That's a good amount of time.
Definitely.
All right, guys. Peace out.
Peace out.